What's your boy on the reaction? In today's video, we have Jose Alvarado and Chris Paul's beef is what happens when the ignorant get the irritant get irritated by a secret base. Make sure like, comment, subscribe, let's get into it. Yeah, that nigga Jose Alvarado is irritating. That nigga a Draymond Green, a Patrick Beverly, nigga just on the court to get in your head. That nigga don't score no buckets. If I game, have that nigga even started in a playoff game, this whole playoff series for the Knicks? That nigga just been a bench warmer on the bench. Like,
in the 2022 playoffs,
I'm a Pelicans fan. I know about Alvarado. I know why we traded the nigga. Like the nigga don't score no points. He a good defender though.
future Hall of Famer and known irritant Chris Paul faced off against reserve point guard and less known irritant Jose Alvarado. And Paul soon found that his own medicine tasted like beef. Hello, I'm interrupting myself and you, and it's very... Jose Alvarado is very similar to Chris Paul. I mean, yes, there is that one big difference that Chris Paul is a superstar and Jose Alvarado is a backup who went undrafted. But okay, now that that disparity in talent has been addressed, let's move on to their similarities. They're both listed at 6 foot, yet managed to survive and even thrive, yes, on a sliding scale, among giants. They're both unflinchingly competitive, they're both hustle effort players, and they're also, well, let's just say they've both been compared to Patrick Beverly. Look, they're both kind of annoying is what I'm getting at.
Some niggas down at the same height.
Starting with Chris Paul. He hit opponents in the groin. He told a ref when an opponent's shirt was untucked. He liked to act, which we know from his State Farm commercials, but also from his on-court performances. And he played pestering, suffocating, in-your-face all-the-time defense. It's those last two examples that we see in Jose Alvarado. He also flops, and he also plays pestering, aggressive, get-away-from-me D. Now, there is a positive to that style of defense. Both guys rack up steals. Chris Paul led the NBA in steals 6 times, which is a record for steal titles, and he's second to John Stockton for all-time total steals. Alvarado isn't going to be near CP's name on those lists, but consider this. In his rookie year, he finished 4th in total steals among rookies, and he did that without playing that many minutes. Both guys get their steals and interceptions in a similar way, sort of baiting the offense, lulling them into a false sense of security, and springing into action out of nowhere. Jose loves to do it in the backcourt, hiding in the corner and then pouncing on the unsuspecting ball handler. It's annoying, it's effective, and it's become his signature move, nicknamed the Grand Theft Alvarado. Paul does it all over the place, you're safe nowhere. And these two irritating guys met in a playoff series that was supposed to be one-sided, the 2022 Western opening round. Paul was on the number 1 seeded Suns, coming off a finals appearance the previous season and a franchise record 64 wins that season. Alvarado was on the 8th seeded Pelicans, who started off with a record of 1-12. These playoffs held a lot of importance to Paul because this Suns team was regarded as perhaps his best and last chance to win a ring. They were a very, very good team, and he was 36 years old. So let's get through this dumb first round and on to fulfilling the destiny that's been out of reach Paul's whole career. With a Game 4 win, the Pelicans tied the series 2-2. This round might not be such a cakewalk after all. Devin Booker got hurt, and that was the main reason for the tied series, but not for nothing, the Pelicans also played well. They out-rebounded the Suns, plain and simple. It didn't always lead to a win, but...
Nah, bro, we had some good, we made the playoffs, and we had some good, runs, you know what I'm saying? It's just
but it certainly did sometimes. And the Pels' first-year coach, Willie Green, was a top assistant with the Suns the previous season, meaning he knew his opponent well enough to know how to mess him up a little. For example, he put Jose Alvarado on Paul for brief stretches to fluster the point guard, which, to be fair, didn't seem like it was going to work at first. In Game 2, when Jose tried his Grand Theft Alvarado move, Paul waved him off as you would a fly buzzing around your drink in summertime. Humiliating, humbling, in the category of worst things that can happen to you during a basketball game. But, flies are resilient. Game 4, when Alvarado was on the court, he was buzzing up in Chris Paul's face, whether or not Paul had the ball. And it was effective. Paul did not look like himself in Game 4. He had no breathing room, he couldn't think, he couldn't score, he couldn't even draw fouls. He lost his cool a little, he got chippy. Pretty sure those are sarcastic pats of encouragement. The irritant had become...
Chris Paul kind of got like a little fat build. Like, I know he kind of, like, I can't tell if he buff or the nigga just fat.
the irritated. And in contrast, Jose was cool, calm, and not thrown off his game at all. With under 9 minutes left, New Orleans up 6, he put pressure on Paul, nearly got the steal, and did get an 8-second violation on a superstar.
It's a violation on Paul!
Which the crowd absolutely loved. It was a huge momentum boost at a critical moment. And then, under 3 minutes left, Pell's up 107-91. Grand
He was a hell of a defender.
Theft Alvarado! How embarrassing for Chris Paul. Insult to injury of his terrible performance. An undrafted rookie showed him up. Completing the Grand Theft Alvarado
That is crazy. He was undrafted.
reversed the humiliation of Game 2. Now Paul looked cocky and foolish for waving him off. It was such a triumph for Jose and the Pells and their fans and anyone who had ever considered themselves an underdog, or maybe I'm just desperate to feel good. It was a big moment. Alvarado had Chris Paul on his list of dream people to grand thieve. His own teammate had told him it was too big a dream, never gonna happen. But here he was, Game 1, series tied, and Jose's Wikipedia page edited to say he was Chris Paul's father. It was a big moment. This series was supposed to be a brief stop on Chris's long-awaited trip to Titletown. And instead, his season was in jeopardy and he was being made fun of online. Alvarado was respectful after the game, but he wasn't deferential. He doesn't run from smoke. And he gloated a little bit. Can you blame him? Sure can, said Suns fans. How much did Suns fans resent Alvarado? Well, in Game 5, they booed every time he touched the ball. For an undrafted rookie reserve, that had to be kinda surreal. How much did Paul resent Alvarado? Well, in...
Am I disgusting, my nigga? I'm fucking using my fingers to get the fucking plaque off my teeth. Digging plaque off my teeth with my fucking fingernails. I'm sorry, y'all. I told y'all niggas I got the tism, bro. Let me chill.
Game 5, he kicked him in the groin. There were reasons to believe it was on purpose. Paul had a history of doing that sort of thing. Notable groin kicker Draymond Green tweeted he'd been ejected for less, and the league reviewed it and retroactively assessed Paul a flagrant. But Alvarado wasn't thrown off his game. He even pestered the point guard into another 8-second violation, fighting dirty play with effort defense. That's gonna win you some fans. Cherry on top, Paul got teed up arguing the violation. Alvarado was the folk hero, Paul the folk villain. In Game 6, Paul set a blindside backcourt pick on Alvarado, but Paul actually got called for the offensive foul here. Perhaps because Alvarado sold it well. In other words, perhaps because he Chris Paul'd Chris Paul. And he was applauded for it. I imagine Paul's blood was boiling, and there's some evidence to that theory because at the end of the game, he threw an elbow at Alvarado, which chipped the kid's tooth. Alvarado even got called for the foul on this play. Bet Chris Paul liked that. Paul had a lot of fun in Game 6 all around, closing out the series with an absolutely incredible performance. Their talent disparity was the last line of this series, but the footnote is that the formerly unknown Jose Alvarado got under Paul's skin. At the post-game presser, Alvarado said, yeah, he's not on Chris Paul's level and he's not pretending to be, but he's not nobody either. Chris Paul knows his name now. Then at his post-game interview, Paul mispronounced Alvarado's name. Was it on purpose?
Alvarado.
The internet certainly thought so. And it's not like Paul was over the beef. Winning the series was apparently not enough of a statement. I'll explain. December the following season, the Pels and Suns were set to play. First of all, Jose was listed as questionable, but there was no question in his mind if Chris Paul was playing, he was playing. So the stage was set for the beef to continue. In the actual game, both Paul and Alvarado played pretty well, but since Zion Williamson was healthy, the Pels were handling the Suns. With 18 seconds left and a 7-point lead, Larry Nance Jr. dunked, which was a little rude. With 1 second left and a 9-point lead, Zion did a 360 windmill dunk, which was considered more than a little rude. Perhaps the beef had been distributed to the whole Pelicans team. And as Zion spun through the air, Chris Paul let Jose Alvarado know he too still tasted beef. We've seen that elbow before. And then we got a team-wide scuffle. A few months later, Alvarado talked about Paul on JJ Redick's Old Man and the Three podcast. He basically said he's not a fan of CP3 on the court. Keeping it on the court is a pretty generous move after someone kicked you in the groin, chipped your tooth, and then tried to elbow your face again 8 months later. Alvarado also said that Phoenix is his nemesis fan base. And that's who kind of picked up this beef when Chris Paul set it aside and left town to focus on the increasingly rushed quest to get a ring. Fans still boo Alvarado in the...
I feel like, bro, as a Pelicans fan, bro, the West just too damn stacked. We got a long way to go before we a contending team. Like, yeah, like nigga, OKC not going nowhere. Nigga, the Spurs not going nowhere. Minnesota, Denver, like, we got a... Yeah, I say we got a bright future. You know, we got Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen, but we need them to become like superstars. Like, we need a superstar, bro. Like, for real.
Desert, and tempers run high on the court too. In 2025, Alvarado fought Suns center.
That's why it is dumb that we trade. Derek Queen is good, but I'm sorry, trading away that pick, bro.
Mark Williams, who is 7'1".
Yeah, he socked that boy in the mouth.
Alvarado does not run from smoke. My God, what are you doing? Get away from that
Sock
giant.
that boy in the mouth.
Run. For Alvarado, the Chris Paul beef was huge. It helped make his
damn ball patch and Chris Paul his
career. Well, I guess the beef didn't make his career, but rather his ability to create beef with Paul through his play on the court made his career. After that series, Chris Paul knew his name, as did the rest of us. For CP3, this beef happened, it was embarrassing, but it isn't sticking to him. There are a lot of footnotes to his career, and Jose Alvarado is a small one. Paul's still a future Hall of Famer. That's gonna overshadow a lot. But for a moment in time, Chris Paul got his buttons pushed in a way that he himself liked to repeatedly jab buttons. He got a taste of his own medicine, and he spat it out while swinging his elbows and kicking his legs toward Alvarado's groin. The undrafted player made the superstar look foolish. For an underdog, does it get any better than that?
And make sure that comes to subscribe and deuces.